Helldivers is a game that a lot of people really, I think, didn't know they wanted, but they needed. Um, and when the game first released, it had a wonderful start. Um, Honestly, it got one of those rare moments where a large social presence started to grow around the game, and the game kind of capitalized on that. And uh, for better or for worse, there were some rough patches along the way, and there still kind of are. Um, I would say Helldivers is in a position of it has a lot of potential to be a long-term game, and the way I think when I say that is games from my childhood that I can remember that were kind of similar to Helldivers would be like Left 4 Dead 2. Um, Obviously, completely different gameplay styles, but like that co-op, just working together as a team to beat like an overwhelming enemy. And I think that brings together a group of people that and not enough people enjoy co-op games. I feel like well, okay, maybe not. That's a horrible statement. Not enough people enjoy like teamwork games. I think co-op is a different thing. I want to say teamwork is more working together to achieve a common goal. No matter what, you need to work with your team, or at least have an understanding that if you're going to run off solo, that you need to know what you're doing. And I think that's something that Helldivers really captures well. Um, if you really do know what you're doing, you can run off on your own. You can solo missions. I would say you'd be hard pressed to do so on some of the later difficulties, but Helldivers 2 has enough option there for any type of player, from casual all the way up to pro, and there's plenty in between. It gives you plenty of scaling to choose what kind of difficulty you feel like handling today. And I think that's a very nice thing to have in the game. And they don't really, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a little bit of punishment there for not playing on higher difficulties. Some of the stratagems you do need to play on higher difficulties in order to get the samples to unlock some of the upgrades. So it does incentivize you to play on higher difficulties, and that's not to say that the game would become unplayable for you if you didn't do those upgrades, but those upgrades do significantly help and will make your time a little bit easier. Not in a way I think that makes you overpowered, but like it's a nice little, hey, thanks for playing as long as you have. Um, the game does allow you to earn paid currency through gameplay, although I feel like they could add more options. I feel like it benefits obviously people who play the game, I would say, more than regularly. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you do play just casual, you'll still get like some of the paid currency through play. But I would like to see maybe like a weekly quest kind of thing where like if you complete it, or maybe even like community goals where like if everybody pitches in together to complete this common goal, everybody would get super credits. Now, granted, they do have a system similar to that in the game already with like the major orders. If the community works together to complete those, everybody gets war bonds, which are then used to unlock stuff in like their version of a battle pass. Which brings me to another point. The battle pass is not your typical like it doesn't have that fear of missing out. If you miss a battle pass with Helldivers 2, don't worry about it. They put all of them up, and you can just get them whenever. A lot of their added battle passes do not have like as much as like the base one you get when you get the game, but they add a new one. I think it's been every month since the game has released. There has been a new pass Warbond thing. It's only like 3 pages. It costs like $10 to unlock it, or 1,000 super credits if you've earned that through gameplay. I believe I was able to unlock, I believe, like the first 4 or 5 war bonds without ever paying a dime for them. And granted, that's, of course, I was playing rather frequently when the game first came out, so a lot of that was between you get super credits from completing part of the war bonds. They give you like anywhere from like 50 to 100. I think there might be like a 150 in there somewhere. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me. But they do give you the ability to earn those bonds. And of course, I got them in order of them coming out. There's a couple of them that I probably wouldn't have gotten looking back, but at the time I was just like, oh, the next one, I'll get that one since I've already finished the last one. But those all are still there. They didn't go away. I can still go back and finish them off if I uh, feel like doing so, or I can just play and unlock a new one. Like, it gives you the freedom to do so. Um, the game, again, like I said, has had some rough spots. There was the whole PlayStation account uproar, and I know to some people that might not sound like a lot, but the PlayStation account thing was a lot to do with the fact that the game was sold in regions where those people couldn't make PlayStation accounts, and that would have basically made the game bricked for them without like using like a VPN or something, which I'm pretty sure goes against like uh, terms and agreements, your user agreements or whatever. So like you could get banned for doing so, even though you're not really like doing anything wrong. You're playing a game you bought in a region that they decided to later take away the ability to do so. That ended up not going through though. I don't want to get stuck on that, but it is a talking point that I feel like should be brought up because it has happened. And I do think that's important to recognize when I come to uh, recommending this game. Um, Beyond that, there have been some disagreements between fan base and developers on like game balance changes. The developers seem to be, for a while there, regularly like not necessarily working against the players, but I think they envisioned a much harder game, and that's fine. But I think a game, unless it's Dark Souls or something of the like, but that's a whole different story, and we're not going to get into that today. But I do believe a game should leave the ability to have casual gameplay. Because a game like Helldivers 2, don't get me wrong, it's fun when it's hard. It really is. It's one of the few games that I've played that's hard and it doesn't frustrate me. It's a fun time even when you're struggling. And I think that's something that they've really done well on capturing. And I understand that they want to keep that same theme going, but I think you can kind of bridge the gap. You can make the game where it's fun for people playing on easy, but the people who do want a challenge have that through difficulty settings, and that's already in the game. It's implemented. So honestly, I think hurting the lower difficulty players should not be a common theme with this. And granted, I'm not saying that's what they're aiming to do, but I think they want to keep that challenge there for everyone. And not everybody wants that. I think a prime example of what I'm trying to get at here would be old school Halo games. Back when like you had Firefight and like the campaign, but you also had custom maps and stuff like that. The game had a little bit of for everyone, but without overdoing it. And when I say overdoing it, I'm talking like you're like Fortnite, like I've got way too many game modes at this point. And like I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like it works for Fortnite, but it's not built for a game like Helldivers or Halo. Halo captured a thing where like if you wanted to play super hard and do legendary all skulls on good old lasso, you could. But if you also just wanted to jump in, turn on Grunt Birthday, and blow some grunt heads off, you could. And hear that confetti birthday party thing go off. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just look up the Grunt Birthday skull for Halo, and that will answer everything you need to know. But that's my point, is the game allows difficulty and ease of access, and I think that's a thing that they should focus on more. Beyond that, those are some of the more downside talking points I do have in the game. I think the developers have finally started to get a feel for where they're going with it. And if the devs can continue to actually listen to the player base and what they want and still create the game that they intend to, I think Helldivers has the ability to become a long-term co-op shooter. However, I think it's still too early to say that. My best recommendation on if I think Helldivers 2 is worth buying is it's fun now, and while I enjoy it, I would say it's more belongs in a category of if you can afford it and or if it's on sale. I think it has long term potential, but only time will tell. If you want to experience Helldivers 2, I wouldn't tell you it's not fun to play, especially with friends. Honestly, like if you have a couple of buddies that wouldn't be opposed to picking it up, I think it's worth playing. Um, or even if you just have a Steam friend, like Steam Families is a thing now, and if you're in a family with somebody who owns a copy of the game, you can just play it like that. So like if you have a friend that's like not opposed to just putting you in like a Steam family with them to try the game out, like I would recommend that too. Obviously, two people can't play it at the same time with Steam families, so keep that in mind. You do need two copies. But beyond that, I think Helldivers 2 is a game I would recommend it, but I would not say it is worth buying at a full price. I think if you see it on sale or if you really, really want to experience it, I would buy it. But it's one of those, I think it's had a rough patch. I don't think I would swear it off. I do think it is an experience that everybody should enjoy or should get to experience, but I would give it a little bit of time if it's not on sale. Beyond that, it is a fun game. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you it's not fun. It is worth getting, but I don't know if it's one of those games that's going to stick around for a long time. So I think that is the best point to give. Buy it with the knowledge that I don't know how long it's going to be an active game. So hey, who knows? Maybe you should get it today so it doesn't end up disappearing later. But I don't want to create that fear of missing out either. This is, of course, just an opinion, and I think you should make the decision and spend your money accordingly how you should and you feel comfortable with. Um, anyways, I believe that's everything I have to talk about. Actually, Helldivers 2 also has a system in it for upgrading your ship and stuff that is earned through like super samples playing the game. I forgot to mention that earlier, and I apologize so much for it. Uh, that is in there. I'll try to put a little clip over this right here, but beyond that, I think that would have to be my recommendation for Helldivers 2. At the end of the day, do what you think is best and enjoy the games that you want to enjoy. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.